Hello everyone, and welcome to the Horology Report. As promised, here's a video of the Seiko SNJ025, aka the Arnie. So before we start the review, just a little bit about the watch and why I got it. This was actually given to me as a gift by my amazing girlfriend, and I've always been a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Commando is probably one of my favorite movies from him, and just in general. So when I saw they remade this watch as a reissue from the 1982 version, I really wanted to get my hands on it. So let's take a look at the watch and the packaging here. As you could see, this is a standard Seiko box. Cardboard, almost like a leather texture, but it's made of cardboard. Pretty cool, I guess. Foam inside. Here we have the Seiko pillow the watch came on. So like your standard like felt fabric, black, with the Seiko logo there in silver. And then here's the watch tags. This was the Seiko Prospects line. Now it's like a modern version of the 1982 watch. There we have the SNJ025. $525 retail price. I've seen them go for around that price or a little bit less, depends where you buy it or if they're having a sale or whatnot. I mean, you can get this watch pretty much everywhere. I've seen it like at Macy's and like eBay and stuff, so you just have to look around for a good price. Then here are just like the instruction books, so limited warranty instructions, and then diving instructions inside. I mean, kind of cool. The first half is like in Japanese, but there's like a bunch of, I guess, instructions if you go diving, which most people probably never will, but hey, it's there for you, right? So let's put that aside and take a look at the watch. So looking at the watch, let's start off with the case dimensions. It is a 47.8 millimeter case, but in reality, it's actually 43, and that armor shield around the black polymer, it adds a lot more to it. So it's truly wears like a 43 millimeter watch. So if you are kind of on the fence of buying it just because like of a perceived overall size, I'd recommend just go ahead and buy it. Also, I'm really not sure what's like people's issue these days with, bigger watches or so-called bigger watches. I mean, if you take a look around what people are wearing smartwatches, I mean, you could see women's smartwatches are like 40 millimeters, like Samsung and Apple, and then the men's watches are like 44 to 46. So realistically, I mean, any watch like between 43 to 47 millimeters is pretty standard these days. So all those guys out there that keep on saying this is a huge watch or, too big, well, maybe it's time to upgrade to modern days, right? The case thickness on this watch is 14.4 millimeters. The lug to lug is 51.3. And then the strap thickness is 22, or the strap width, I should say, is 22 millimeters. And it actually kind of tapers down towards the ends. And then it widens back out at the buckle. You can see there. Sorry for the strap, it's a little dirty. I've been wearing it a lot recently, so this is a pretty honest review here of what I think about the watch with a lot of wrist time. So let's take a look at the dial here. As you can see, this is the Annie Digi dial with the digital display to 12 or above the 12. And then the normal analog hands. Let's just start off with the regular dial here. As you can see, it's just like a matte black dial with a matte black chapter ring. It has individual seconds markings inside, and then it has the military time at the minutes or hour markers there, 14, 15, so on. And then obviously the loom filled hour markers, hour hands, minutes hands, and then the seconds hands there is a little dot. And then there's also a loom dot there in the bezel. Now I gotta say the loom on this watch is amazing. Seiko's Lumi Bright. It's really great. I'll show you the loom shots at the end. But I gotta recommend it for that. It's amazing. Looking at the bezel, it is aluminum. It's like a satin sheen. 120 clicks. It's not the best bezel action I've seen. It's kind of rough. And also, one of the biggest issues with this watch for me is that bezel just doesn't line up. So, from a big brand like Seiko and the price, I'm pretty disappointed in that aspect. But, I mean, everything else about this watch is pretty great, but that bezel alignment is a little ridiculous. I mean, you really have to, like, I mean, if you just, that's not clicked, so if it, like, moves a little bit more, then it's off, you know, off center there. But what can you do, I guess? So it does have the time setting crown here at 3, like an average watch, normal watch. But then also has the 2 other crowns for the digital. And these are actually screwed down. So unlike the original 1982 model, you have to unscrew these to actually use them. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. What's the point of having pushers? You have to unscrew them. So this is like the backlit display there. It's pretty bright in the dark, obviously. I have bright lighting here, so you can't see it that great. But I'll throw up a shot of that as well, so you can see that. I mean, it's pretty nice, I guess, but obviously you have to unscrew it, which, I mean, if you had to look at it like at a glance or quickly, you're really not going to be able to do that. So hopefully the Lumi Bright's charged up. And then here we have the crown at the 8 o'clock. And this is for adjusting the digital screen. So you have an alarm setting, timer, looks like another alarm. And then this is the actual time in like digital if you want to display that way as well. And then the day and date. So overall, a lot of functionality. I mean, coming from the digital aspect, and then plus just the regular analog. So it's pretty nice. And there in the dial, you could see the X for the Prospect series, and then Solar, Divers 200 meters in orange. So overall, it's a nice dial. I know some people, they have like a chapter ring alignment issues, but this one's good in that aspect, but the bezel's not. So take your pick, I guess, right? Moving on to the case, you could see this watch is all highly polished stainless steel. And also it has this removable polymer shroud. It's like a satin black finish as well, just like similar to the bezel, but it's not made of aluminum. And looking at the case back, all polished steel. We have the Seiko Wave logo there. Seiko diver's watch, 200 meters, water resistance, stainless steel, H851, that's the movement. And then we have the serial number there. Made in China, so maybe a long time ago Seikos were actually made in Japan, but not these days, unless you buy a Grand Seiko. But I don't know many people that want to pay like $3,000, $5,000 for a Seiko. So there's that. The movement in this watch, obviously, we're not going to throw in a time grapher, since it's not an automatic. It's actually one of my only non-automatic watches I own. But, I mean, it's a solar quartz watch. The battery life can last for up to 6 months. It actually has this feature where if it's like in the darkness, it stops ticking the seconds hand. And then as soon as daylight or light comes back, it'll like reset to the right time so the hands don't move to conserve power, but the watch still like counts time. And obviously, I mean, the accuracy, I've had this watch for about a month now, and the seconds are just as when I set them. So it hasn't gained or lost anything. I mean, it's a quartz watch, so that's one of the big benefits. It's always going to be accurate, and plus being solar, you don't have to worry about, the battery or anything. Or if you have a large watch collection, if you have a lot of automatics, you're going to either have a lot of watch winders, or you're going to be, winding them up all the time since they die. This one, you could kind of just throw it on the wrist and not worry about it. Moving on to the strap. It's the 22mm silicone strap. You could see there it has the Seiko Wave logo. And it has these like corrugations, the classic like diver strap. This one is a little dirty for me wearing it. It's like soap scum. The keeper, it's one thing I wanted to talk about. It's made of stainless steel. So, I mean, the pros to that, it's never going to rip or anything like that. It can be a pinch point at times if you put the watch on. If you're not careful with it, you could like pinch your skin in between that and the strap. So, if you do get this, just be careful putting it on. But overall, I thought it was going to be kind of uncomfortable, but you really don't feel it. So the comfort is great. Here's the clasp, or the buckle. They're Seiko stainless steel on the inside. Not really sure why they wouldn't put Seiko there, but hey. So overall, this watch is like really comfortable. It's one of my most comfortable watches actually. Like I said, it wears like a 43mm, even though it's slightly larger, but that armor shroud doesn't really add any weight. I mean, it's made of polymer, so you don't really have to worry about that. I mean, it is like bulkier, especially with the crowns and stuff, but it's not bad. So overall, at the price point, I don't know why Seiko didn't upgrade the crystal to sapphire instead of the hardlex. I mean, sapphire is not hard to come by these days. You could see like Chinese watches from AliExpress offering it for like $100. So that's a big disappointment there. Obviously the bezel not lining up. That's just unacceptable at any price, I feel like. But if you're a big fan of Seiko and a big fan of Arnold, I mean, try to find it on sale. I've seen them go for like $350. So, don't pay that $500. Or you could find a girlfriend like mine and, get it for free. But overall, yeah, I'd recommend it at the sale price, but not really at the full price. I can't see the specs making this watch worth, over $500, unless you're a huge fan of Arnold and you want the watch. because I feel like that's what Seiko did to jack up the price for this. But I'll throw up those loom shots and you could take a look at that. And then you can see the digital display and the brightness of it. So thanks again for watching. I have a video hopefully coming up soon of a sneak peek at a new Kickstarter watch. So hopefully I have that by the end of the month or maybe early next month. So stay tuned for that.